So I stuck a whole turkey in my compost bin. And here's what happened.
Plastic definitely went in there too.
So you may think I'm a little crazy. My family definitely thought I was crazy. But at Thanksgiving and at Christmas, we took an entire turkey carcass and we put it in our compost bin. And let's talk about what happened. So I'll tell you the first 24, maybe 36 hours, we put our turkey carcass in, we filled it up to the top with like carbon material and other food scraps. I will tell you for the first 24, 48 hours max, there was a funk smell for it. There was like, definitely if you came in this area. Now, not beyond this area, just like kind of like you're really close to the compost bin, you'd come up and you'd be like, that doesn't smell great. But within 48 hours, after that point, on day 3 when I walked over here, the smell was gone. And my little buddies in there were working very, very hard and they were very, very happy. You may be interested in composting, you want to bring down your carbon footprint, you don't want so much going into garbage piles, or you've started composting, but you're getting kind of over the rules, which like same, because there's all these rules about like you have to have the right level of nitrogen versus the right level of carbon, and like that may, for some of us who are very busy with full-time jobs and kids and commutes and all this stuff, like it can become like a lot to keep track of if you don't have everything like just set up right. And like one of the things I found super frustrating about the whole composting process, it's like you're trying to keep stuff out of the landfill, right? Like we know like 1/3 of our garbage is stuff that could be composted, but then like there's all these like, you can't do this, you can't do that, like you can't put fats in, you can't put like dairy products in, you can't put in meats, you can't put in baked goods, and you can't put in citrus, and I live in Florida, so there's a lot of citrus. And it just kind of felt like I just don't have time to be fussing at this. It really brings me to, how does this even work? Like how can you bend all the classic composting rules? And it really comes to a thing called vermicompost. So you might have heard the term vermicomposting before when it comes to classic composting, because usually if you're not doing hot pile composting, you're doing vermicomposting with worms, right? You want the earthworm thing, they're gonna make you really good things. But the challenge with earthworms is they only eat certain things, and they're not gonna get through your meats, they're not gonna get through the fats. The less popular and often less talked about version of vermicomposting is black soldier fly composting. Black soldier flies are a fly, they're big, and they basically, they'll eat anything, like anything. Now the thing is the way that they do it is through maggots, which usually people aren't like, ooh, yay, maggots, fun. Here's the thing about black soldier flies, if you're gonna eat it, they'll eat it. And what's really cool is they can take, I mean, I've honestly filled this bin to the brim multiple times and it empties out over and over and over again, because black soldier flies can take and basically reduce the mass of your food, your scraps, down 90%. So you can actually put in a lot of stuff and they will bring it down very rapidly. I just want to give you an idea of like how much this thing goes down. On Thanksgiving, we put a turkey carcass in here and we had this thing full to the brim. Continue to put compost in every weekend. Christmas, the video you've already seen, is us putting a whole nother, and we were basically brimming at the top shortly thereafter. This is the end of January. We've continued to add food scraps in every weekend. I'm not kidding you guys. We're constantly adding into this thing. Like, oh my gosh. So I started digging through just to see what I could find. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but that's one of the bones right there. So in a month, and you can see there's some eggshells and stuff that's probably from last weekend, but this is how fast this stuff breaks down in here. What's great about black soldier fly composting is it's really, I would say, one of the least fussy types of composting. So if you really felt like, I don't have the time, I don't have, if I feel like the other types of composting are really overwhelming, this one's really straightforward. You just put stuff in. You just put stuff in. There are times when my husband and I have been really busy and we have literally just dumped the scraps from within the house straight into the bin and not even put like paper or anything over it. We're just like, whatever, and just threw it in, and it's been fine. It's been fine. It might smell for 24 hours at most, but then that's it. The maggots work really, really, really fast. So a lot of times, if you're putting your compost in there every week, they keep up with it really well, and you just really don't get much of a smell. And even, I'll go and open it up. It doesn't have much of a smell. Actually, it doesn't have a smell at all. You don't smell compost right here. If I could give you smell-o-vision, you would just be like, I don't really smell anything. Yep, because they really do a really good job of eating it down. So you may be worried about the fact of like, ooh, I would like to do this, but I don't want a bunch of flies flying everywhere. And I definitely don't want maggots. Like, me neither. I'm right with you. So here's the thing. If you notice in the area, there really aren't flies flying around. There are some flies in the actual bin, but you won't see many of them around. And that has to do with the fact that the maggots, most of them never make it to maturity to be able to like fly around and make more. So that's item one. And the reason a lot of the maggots don't is a bunch will just die right in the compost bin and then get eaten by others over time, which is gross, but like, okay. But again, you don't have to sit and watch it, so it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. That's what I tell myself, because I don't watch it. I just throw stuff in and I close it up. The other thing is that, you know, because there are air slits to allow for air to get in and out for your compost heap, is that some will get out. Now, placing your compost heap in a place where songbirds can get to it is a really, really beneficial thing. So I've always placed mine, whether it's near mulberry trees or beautyberry bushes, I put them near bushes that songbirds like to go and eat the berries from, because songbirds love, love, love maggots. Trust me, they do. I know you and I don't love them, but songbirds do. So your mockingbirds, your blue jays. Basically, I have brown thrashers, I have catbirds, they all hang out in here. And because this is kind of a low traffic area, because who wants to go hang out with like compost, they have a really good source of food. So they pick up all the extras that hang out over here that happen to get out. So that keeps down the fly population. And we really don't see a lot of flies in our garden, if at all. And everything you really see them flying around in front of me, those are all bees, because I've got flowers here that they love and they're super excited about them right now. So what do you need to get started with black soldier fly composting? So you need a bin. What you want is you want a bin that has an open bottom. And you may be wondering, what about, you know, like rats and other things getting in? So the big thing is you want to be able to build up material around it so that they can't dig in and get under. Because your black soldier flies will keep the smells and the things that track them down, but you got to give them a chance. So like an open, I mean, it's kind of like a turned over trash can with a lid and an open slot. I would got mine through my city's composting program, but you may be able to get one of these online. I will link some sources in the description down below. But you have an open face. Another big thing, because I've done this, I've just taken like literally a trash can and drilled holes in the bottom to allow for any of the liquid to come out, which worked fine. But the big thing is you also want slits on the side to allow air to get in and out, because if you don't do that, what I found historically is there will be more of a festering smell inside the bin. It didn't get out, but it was definitely more in. Now having the slits, the smell, there's no smell. So this is what it looks like inside the bin. Woo. So you see there's like a little bit of gnat fly activity, but the black soldier flies are down in there. And we literally just put compost in last night. We just throw scrap paper. We just shred it. I will link a shredder down below. But just paper, you know, mail and junk that comes in that we would normally throw in a recycle bin. We just shred it and we throw it in here. And then what happens is they just get to work. Don't worry, I won't dig so you see the maggots, because like, who really wants to see that? Ugh. So other than times when you throw like a large chunk of meat in there, honestly, you don't get much of a smell. The black soldier flies, once they're established, will work through the pile really, really fast. The big thing is having those slits so that they can get in, and then just creating an environment that's fine for them. But honestly, it's not a lot of effort, like, because nobody has time for that. Now, a couple of the cons of dealing with black soldier fly composting. Unlike with hot composting and the like vermicomposting with earthworms, you do not end up with a huge bountiful amount of soil on any regular frequency. They are so good at eating down the material that it's just not a lot. You can fill this up so many times and you will have zero soil to pull out. The stuff that is at the bottom that is broken down is so enriched. That's why my bananas grow like crazy right here. If you don't know bananas are huge fertilizer water suckers, and so they just suck everything up. So from that perspective, it doesn't produce as much. But if you're really focused on trying to minimize your impact to the environment through doing composting, and you don't have a lot of time and you're not as concerned about building lots of soil, this is a really, really, really good option. If you're looking to keep this really simple and you want to just know my really simplistic process, and this has worked for me, I have been doing this for years now with a job that had me doing 70 hours of work minimum a week with 10 hours of commuting. I did not have time to like be flipping and turning and everything. So if you really need a very simple process and you're cool not getting a ton of soil regularly, then let me talk you through what you need to do. So step one, what you're going to do is you're going to just get like a simple like shoe size bin that's plastic, and you just put it in your fridge. And then as you have food scraps, as you're making food, you just chuck it all in your little bin throughout the week. So that, if you've looked that into composting, that will be your nitrogen stuff. Step two, from your carbon standpoint, and this is just to help cut the smell for like those initial few hours for most of your compost. So to keep it convenient, what I do is I keep my mail stack next to where I have my shredder. So just as I open mail and figure out I gotta pay a bill or whatever, I just throw the stuff I don't need through the shredder. Paper towel rolls, and your toilet paper rolls, you can also throw through a shredder really simply. And then basically once a week, or as your little compost shoe bin fills up, you take it out and you take your little shredded papers and you dump the bin in and you dump the paper on top and you close your lid, and that's it. You're done. And this is how you can have one of the most low maintenance ways of vermicomposting or composting altogether. So I hope that helped connect the dots on how you can do composting in a very, very simple way. And if you really enjoyed this video, go ahead and like, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. New videos each week. And while you wait for the next video, YouTube thinks you'll want to watch this. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.